Well, hi everyone, and welcome back. It's Module 4. We are already there. I can't believe our class is moving along so fast. So, for the reading this week, it's all about time management, the second part of the triple constraint, or often you'll hear it referred to as schedule. Last week we talked about scope and scope management. This week we're going to talk about schedule management, or time management. So, as I mentioned last week, we're going to talk about the project management processes that go into managing time. So, we plan our schedule management by determining what our policies are going to be, procedures, what kind of documentation we're going to need to keep, and how we're going to manage and update it. We define our activities. So, once we know our scope, once we know what we're going to do, now we need to decompose what we're going to do into activities. So we determine based on our scope what we are planning or what we need to do activity wise to accomplish the overall scope. We then sequence the activities, making sure that things are done in the correct order and that the relationships between the activities are set up in such a way that we're not doing something before something needs to be done or should be done, that it's sequenced in the proper manner. Estimating activity resources, we're going to determine what the team is going to need to accomplish it. Now, when we're talking about resources, we could be talking about people. We could be talking about equipment. We could be talking about software, any kind of resource that would be needed in order to complete an activity. We're going to be looking at activity durations, how long it takes. So that's a part of estimating. So we need to know how to properly or accurately estimate how long something's going to take to get done. And then the developing the schedule, which goes into actually creating and defining a WBS, or work breakdown structure, and what we do with that work breakdown structure once we have it created. And then, of course, controlling the schedule, managing and maintaining time is so important to make sure we control that schedule. So let's move on and see what we're going to need to know. This week we're going to need to know about defining and sequencing activities. So what kind of work needs to be done in order to complete our overall scope of work? That's where you have to stop and maybe list, brainstorm, think it through. And as you think it through, for example, you're creating a website. Well, what do you need to do to create a website? Well, you need to determine what the website's going to be about. You probably need to determine things like aesthetics, color scheme, graphics. You probably need to determine navigation. You probably need to determine a bunch of different things. So you may have planning or design as a phase, and then in design you decompose what all you need to do. What are the activities that are part of the design of this website? That's the decomposing part. And sequencing, of course, gets into, well, I can't go and create the website. I can't go forth and populate data in the website unless I have first created the website, created the web page. So when you're talking about sequencing, you want to make sure that you're doing the events and activities in the correct sequence so that they feed each other properly. Network diagrams, arrow diagramming method, that's getting into Microsoft Project. Precedence diagramming method, or PDM diagram. Again, we're going to be talking about that as we get into Microsoft Project. Estimating activity duration and resources. Some great information in your chapter on how to go about creating estimates. Gantt charts and the critical path. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about Microsoft Project this week, specifically how we get data in, how we create Gantt charts, and What is that critical path? Because that's part of your activity exercise this week, is defining a critical path and knowing how to look at that. Critical chain scheduling and the PERT is something else you're going to want to be looking at in the textbook. Now, I'm going to encourage you, if you have not gotten your free copy of Microsoft Project, and I've been asking you to do that in class now, make sure you get out to DreamSpark and get that done. Otherwise, you'll be using the lab computers to complete all of your assignments. Now, lab computers have Microsoft 2013 project, Microsoft Project 2013, so you should be fine there. But again, it does restrict you to doing the work in the actual computer labs. Make sure you review the tutorials in the textbook. In the back of the textbook, there is an appendix that includes tutorials that'll get you started. I am going to be showing a 16-minute video in class, and then I'm going to walk you through a lot on Microsoft Project. So either you can watch the video on your own, it's actually posted in the classroom, or make sure you're paying attention in class when we do this, and you should be good to go. But these resources are all available to you outside of the classroom. I really want to stress to you that if you miss the class, or for whatever reason you're not able to view the video is available for you in Canvas. So definitely spend 16 minutes. It's the best 16 minutes you'll spend in trying to learn Microsoft Project. Okay, great. That's all I have for you this reading overview, and continue on to the next video, and we'll talk about the assignments for week 4.